Thank you so much, Adrian. It's a great pleasure to be here and an honor to moderate such an esteemed panel and have such esteemed guests here on the topic of gun violence prevention. Gun violence prevention is a national crisis and an international sort of tragedy, especially with regards to the United States. In fact, in 2017, nearly 40,000 people lost their lives in the United States due to guns. Unfortunately, in many times we accept this as part of life here in the United States. However, that's not the case. If you go beyond our borders, you see that most, if not all, of the other developed countries around the world have much lower murder rates than the United States. The United States is up to 25 times greater than other countries. As Adrian mentioned, this is National Public Health Week, and you hear from distinguished speakers, and so today you're going to hear from trailblazers, people who've been working this issue and looking at this issue of prevention of violence now for close to 40 years. People who, during the time when you heard about violence, all you heard about in response was lock them up, as opposed to we can prevent it. And so that's what's critical about tonight. Tonight is important to address it and also recognize the need for political will, a will to do something different, a will to no longer tolerate what has been continuing to be death and violence and the severity of it due to the access of guns. And recognize that such issues, and in the past, that have been recognized or have been identified as possible barriers are really not barriers. A few years ago, maybe not so much, but a few years ago, I was involved with the Violence Prevention Initiative here in California, funded by the California Wellness Foundation, which was initiated in the early 90s. During that time, California Wellness Foundation granted about $60 million over a 10-year period of time to bring together different stakeholders, communities, academia, health professionals, the criminal justice, police officers, all together to address youth violence prevention. And one of the successes was banning Saturday night specials in the state of California. We did that, and that ban is still there. It shows what is possible. And what we're about now is about moving forward and advancing that. And we need to recognize that as our politicians become more emboldened to make a difference, we realize that our community is stepping up. Here in Los Angeles, as well as communities throughout the country, are stepping up and asking and telling and demanding from their elected officials what they're going to do to make a difference. And certainly, we should all be there to help support them. One subgroup of that movement that I'm particularly heartened about is our future. The Parkland catastrophe, deaths that happened, and the resultant mobilization of students and young people across the country are now part of that movement and, in fact, at the forefront, calling us to do more. And so I want us to seek what we're doing here, gain the information so we can act. I want to also acknowledge, as was acknowledged, in the audience, we have folks who are survivors of gun violence, and can have family members of victims of gun violence. And so just one moment of silence for all of those who are survivors and who are not with us because of gun violence. Thank you. Now, it's my wonderful opportunity to mention to you how this evening is going to unfold. Each presenter will have about 8 to 10 minutes to deliver opening remarks. We will then have a question and answer period. I'll say more about the question and answer period when we're at that portion of the agenda. And now, however, I want to introduce the panelists. I will be introducing the panelists one at a time and briefly giving a portion of their bio. In this agenda that we have here is a more detailed description of the panelists, but let me just begin by introducing Dr. Prothero Stith. Dr. Prothero Stith actually needs no introduction if you have been anywhere near the world of violence prevention. She is a legend. Somebody who before anybody was talking about violence prevention, Dr. Prothero Stith was right there, advancing, moving forward, from Boston, at Harvard, around the country, being asked to motivate and inspire others to make a difference. And she has. And certainly I can be counted as one of those people who was inspired by Dr. Prothero Stith and continue to be inspired today by her motivation, by her inspiration, and by her visionary work, which we are fortunate to have her brought to Los Angeles and bring that energy and wonderful vision and power as the dean and professor at Charles Drew University. And so, will you please give me a rounding, strong welcome for Dr. Prothero Stith. Come on up.